main question for you, and I'd like you to explain to everybody what's going on. But the main question is Blizzard at this point more hated than EA?
At this moment in time, like right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And do you want to explain to everybody why?
Yeah. So, if y'all weren't following the gaming news cycle, Blizzard had a horrible year last year. Blizzard had probably the worst PR year they have ever had in the history of time. Like, fans were expecting Diablo 4. All they got were more news about Diablo Immortal. They got, 4 is in development, but we're going to talk about Diablo Immortal instead. And on top of that, we had the whole Blitzchung fiasco, which we covered at length. People saying, Blizzard's completely against Hong Kong. Blizzard's funded by Tencent. Blizzard wants to quash any dissent. Horrible PR nightmare. They rescinded their decision later, but it was really, really too late. And then, of course, they had the latter part of World of Warcraft's Battle for Azeroth expansion, which I did play Battle of Azeroth for a while. It was all right. It was okay.
Yeah.
But just got too grindy near the end. And the latter part of the expansion was just more of the same. And people are not super happy about how the turns the story has taken. And Warcraft 3 Reforged, which is the focus of the day, just seems like more of the same.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think from what I understand, it's worse than. Well, it's more the same as in the sense of their bad PR, right?
More of the same bad PR.
Yeah, and so the Blitzchung thing was such a bad look, and really they made it way worse for themselves than it had to be. They just continued to screw up. Like, I was just blown away at the terrible PR. And they didn't really have a lot of wins last year in general. But this latest bit, I think the reason it's so bad is because it really feels like icing on the cake for a lot of people, because World of Warcraft 3 or Warcraft 3.
Warcraft 3.
World Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 is one of the most beloved games that they've ever made.
Dude, it's my favorite RTS of all time.
And and it was announced
hours upon hours.
Right,
in that game.
And it was announced, the Reforged was announced, and what they promised compared to what they gave people is so different. So give us a little bit more details, man.
So
what exactly happened with
initially, what Blizzard announced back at BlizzCon was they were going to do a more extensive remake, and they were going to have completely redone cutscenes. The cutscenes were going to be fully animated. There was a brand new UI they were going to sort of introduce. And Blizzard, later in the year, sort of backpedaled on this, saying that, their more quote-unquote hardcore fan base wasn't really into it, and the more hardcore fan base just wanted basically upped graphics, and that was it. So they did that, but they never ever communicated that to their larger channels, and that is sort of why things have sort of blown up the way they have. They still have that redone cinematic from BlizzCon up on their YouTube channel for it, even though that is not in the final game at all.
Yeah, and the significance of it is that that's not what the game looks like. That the game itself, which was promised to be a visual upgrade, is not a visual upgrade.
Well, it's a visual upgrade to a point. It's a visual upgrade in terms of they updated the models and the character designs and all that stuff, but they didn't do animated cutscenes like they initially promised. They didn't redo the UI like they promised, and that is just the tippy tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, and talk about what happened with the custom games and all of that.
Oh my gosh. So what is most egregious to me is what they have done with custom games. You have to actually agree in the terms of service that Blizzard owns your custom games. So Blizzard owns any and all of your custom games, any and all modifications you make into your custom games.
Yeah.
And that's just to prevent a Dota-level fiasco from ever happening again.
And explain Dota. Explain the Dota thing to people, because there's people that don't know about how Dota got started.
Yes, I do. I do have a problem like this where I just assume people know what I'm talking about. So let me elaborate a little bit. So Dota, what was the basis for League of Legends? I'm sure a lot of you out there know what League of Legends is. Dota was originally just a mod for Warcraft 3. It was a custom game mod because people like playing with the hero characters so much that they went and made this custom mod where you had these 3 lanes and you fought these minions and you basically got to get in little fights with these characters. And there were like so many little spin-offs of this. There were like Star Wars spin-offs where people did their own models. There were anime spin-offs where you could have like Naruto fight Ichigo from Bleach.
Sounds
like
dope.
all kinds of crazy stuff. And when Valve approached the people that made Dota and were like, yo, we want you to make Dota 2, Blizzard didn't have any control of that.
Yeah, because they didn't own it at all.
And Blizzard was super salty about it, of course, because Blizzard did Heroes of the Storm, and Heroes of the Storm is not performing nearly as well as Dota or League of Legends.
Right.
So they just really want to keep themselves from getting burned, and that's why they did that whole thing with the custom games. But
and on top of that, there's no way to play the original version of this game anymore, right?
No, there's not. So if you owned the original Warcraft 3 and you just wanted to keep the original Warcraft 3 and keep playing it, you can't. So people logged on the day Reforged came out to a 30 gigabyte update.
30 gigabyte update.
For a game that they are no longer allowed to play anymore. The only possible way to play original Warcraft 3 is to log into Warcraft 3 Reforged and toggle the option where it switches over to the older character models. But even then, you're not playing original Warcraft 3 because original Warcraft 3's clans and leaderboards and ranked matches and all that. That stuff's all gone.
It's gone, folks.
It's gone.
And so what basically, to summarize, what has happened is Blizzard took one of their most beloved, a 17-year-old game, one of their most beloved properties, and at a time when they just continuously piss off their fan base because there was the Diablo 3 Immortal thing, right?
Yeah, the whole Diablo on
Do you guys not have
mobile,
phones?
which still isn't even out.
Yeah, it's not even out. So they took the next Diablo game is coming out on mobile.
And we still got to wait on Diablo 4, which they just have. Oh, it's coming, guys.
That trailer was dope.
And it's going to be good.
But yes, I mean,
it's coming.
Look, the point is Blizzard screwing up epically last year. And there's a big disconnect between their fan base and them, right? It's so obvious. And once again, they make this just total boneheaded decision, in my opinion, to overpromise, underdeliver, and then even their most recent bit where they came out and sort of apologized for it was so weak, dude. It was something like, we're sorry that you didn't have the experience that you thought you were going to have.
And we promise to support the game for a long time to come, so continue to give us money. At the same time, it seems like Blizzard realized their promise was weak because they offered instant refunds for Warcraft 3. Normally, you have to explain what was wrong with your game experience to them
automated
and all
refunds,
that.
Right?
But no, just straight up, you say, I want a refund, they give you your money back immediately.
Yeah. So, look, I mean, that's one of the things that's kind of burning up the gaming scene right now is how bad Blizzard has been acting lately and the perception of what they're doing. And honestly, I think they're literally probably hated more than EA at this point.
Oh my gosh, yeah. EA
wild.
had Star Wars last year. EA has actually started to rebuild some of that goodwill. They're actually still supporting Battlefront. Battlefront is actually a good game now. Apex is doing really, really well with its Season 4 update.
Just launched,
So, dude, EA is not nearly as bad as Blizzard right now, and I will stand by that statement.
And if you would have told me that even a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, it doesn't matter. Like literally until about a week ago,
you would have
told me that. I wouldn't have fired me, but I would have been like, dude, you got to have your finger on the pulse, Justin. I don't think you know what you're talking about. We would have had a big discussion and all that. It would have been really upsetting because, it's absolutely ridiculous what's going on in gaming right now.